welcome to Talkin' Trades, the weekly podcast where we talk about comics so you don't have to. I'm Jeremy, I'm a DC fan.
And I'm John Marble Nut.
And I'm Matt, and I like both.
And we are here talking about all things comics, comic books, comic book related things, TV shows, movies, everything. We got a lot of news this week, gentlemen. Let's just skip all the pleasantries and jump right into This Week in Geek.
This Week in Geek.
All right, This Week in Geek, we've got a lot of stuff going on. I think we start with the sad news first, even though it's not in the order on our list here. Joel Schumacher, creator of the last three Batman movies?
Last two.
Batman Forever and Batman Robin.
Yeah, before the Nolan stuff.
Yes, the last two in the Tim Burton verse set, the Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, the two most hated Batman movies, has passed away. But that does not indicate his massive body of work. I think we all agree that those movies are definitely low on our list of quality, but how can you deny their fun, their entertainment value is very high.
They're very iconic movies.
Yeah, Kid Matt loved the hell out of those movies.
Oh, hell yeah. He also did St. Elmo's Fire and The Lost Boys, which are probably his most critically well-received films. He passed away at the age of 89 or 81. So that's very sad. So, all of our love and support goes to the family of the late Joel Schumacher. He's 80 years old. He passed away. He lost a very long battle with cancer, and that's horrible. So well wishes to the family and to him, and he will be missed. And I still enjoy those two Batman movies even now, just for a different reason than I enjoy other ones.
Yeah, they're campy and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Jim Carrey as the Riddler is a treasure.
Right? Exactly. What else we got here? We got some other news about directors and movies. James Gunn has confirmed that the next Guardians of the Galaxy will, quote, probably be the last of any entry that he directs, and will be the last with the current team, aka Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, Drax, Gamora, Nebula, and Mantis. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I'm very okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm in the minority where Guardians is not among my favorites, but I'm excited to see them spice it up, try a different roster. In general, I think this phase 4 is a transitionary phase for the MCU as a whole. So it only makes sense that Guardians would be no exception.
Yeah, I agree. That makes perfect sense. Matt, you were saying you're cool with this?
Yeah, I'm cool with it. James Gunn is going to be taking over with
the Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad. I'm into new characters. I imagine that they're not going to get rid of Rocket and Groot because gotta sell toys. But like everybody else, I feel like maybe we'll get some new faces and stuff.
I can see for example, maybe Pratt's too expensive at this point.
Right.
Like I think if you wrap up his and Gamora's arc, you can probably be okay without those characters for a bit. Maybe Drax hangs out. I don't know what Drax as a character wants. He seems content to stay with the ship for all I can see.
He got his end game essentially with Thanos dying.
Exactly. Same with Mantis. I don't know. I'd be fine with them sticking around, but yeah, I think you can reasonably end the Star-Lord and Gamora stretch of it, and with Gamora and Nebula then as well, because they're very closely related. So I can see that happening. It wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah,
I agree absolutely. Especially when you said that Chris Pratt would be maybe a little too expensive right now. I could totally see that being the case. Where he's a big old movie star now. He's a pretty big deal. He's probably pretty expensive.
Unless he signed a similar contract to Evans, Downey, etc., where it's a ton of films. I don't know what the contract looks like, but I could definitely
maybe
see a closure point of 3 and the main thrust of Gamora and Star-Lord.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. That would make sense to me too. Absolutely. What else we got here? The Fandome,
Fandom.
not to be confused with the Thunderdome or the.
I tried looking for this under DC Fandom, and that was very difficult because it's Fandome. DOME.
Yes, it's a 360-degree, 24-hour immersive virtual fan experience. You're going to be in a dome of fandom.
Yep. It's going to be taking place on August 22nd of this year. It's going to be fun.
Do we know anything that's confirmed?
Yes, I got the list right here.
Good.
Exclusive footage and the latest from news from WB Games, film and TV, and comics, as well as opportunity to hear from the cast and creators from its vast library of DC films and TV series, including Aquaman, The Batman, Batwoman, Black Adam, Black Lightning, DC Superhero Girls, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, DC Stargirl, Doom Patrol, The Flash, Harley Quinn, Lucifer, Pennyworth, Shazam, The Suicide Squad, Supergirl, Superman and Lois, Teen Titans Go, Titans, Watchmen, and Young Justice Outsiders.
Here's something fun. I forgot they were making a Pennyworth show.
And the Snyder Cut of Justice League.
Yes, of course.
So will Zack Snyder be there? Ooh, speculation.
I could see it happening. I could see a pre-recorded 30 seconds of, hey, here's another quick scene.
Yeah.
What they should have is the guy who played Darkseid, who revealed that he played Darkseid a year ago, but did it subtly. He should be there to answer some questions.
That'd be cool.
That'd be
I wanna
very
hear from
exciting.
that guy.
Same.
It's insanely exciting. That's really cool. All right. So what are you guys hoping is revealed there? Matt, I want to hear from you on this, especially.
Everybody knows what I want. I mean, I've mentioned it. I don't know how many times since you guys have had me start regularly talking on this podcast.
Since you became the N in talking trades.
Yeah. So now that WB Games is there, they are going to announce games. So help me.
Yep, you're right. Superman VR experience.
Lego Batman 4.
Oh my God.
If I don't get my new Arkham game, head's gonna roll. Knowing my luck, it's gonna be a cell phone game for
They
$5.
probably will. They probably will release a new cell phone game because it makes sense.
Don't you have a phone?
I do have a phone, but it's not the same.
To paraphrase Blizzard.
Here's what they should do. They should do the next Batman game is the Owls game, but Bruce is gone. It's Dick Grayson's Batman.
I would love that. That'd
be very
something cool. Mix the Owls and then the Battle for the Cowl type stuff together. I think that'd be really interesting.
Would you at all be upset if it was the Owl Saga, but it was not? It did not have the word Arkham in the name.
No.
I like the spirit of those games.
Yeah, that's the thing. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why I really like Spider-Man, is because clearly, it was influenced by those Arkham games.
John, you're also talking to Batman fans who are totally down with the multiverse.
I don't know if you're like Arkham or bust or
no.
I was reading
Batman or bust.
At this point, I feel like the Arkham storyline over the 4 games that have had Arkham in it has been told. I feel like there's nothing more to really talk about. I just referenced it as the Arkham game because that's
I want the BioShock follow-up to System Shock 2. I want the spiritual successor if I need it. I don't need it to be the same story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I want that combat style. I want that exploration style. I want that narrative style. I wouldn't mind having Kevin Conroy be in it. I'm not gonna lie.
And that's why I'm very excited for W Montreal's game, because I really liked the investigation part of Origins. That was really cool, really Batman, and not really done with the Rocksteady games. It was unique to W Montreal. So I'm hoping that if we get another Montreal game that's in that vein.
Yes, poutine and exploration. That's what they're known for.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
You get to do more detective stuff would be fun.
He is the world's greatest detective.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna correct myself. I know that WB Games does not make the Lego games. That's my bad.
But would have been hysterical if they decided we bought it.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. Yeah, I'm with you, man. That's what I want to. John, do you have anything you're like, I need to see this, or I'm hoping to see this at the fandom?
I mean, they didn't. Rocksteady is not listed.
Yeah,
which is a little upsetting because they have been working on a game ever since Arkham Knight wrapped very early into this generation.
Yeah,
so
yeah. They were talking about a Superman game too.
That's been heavily rumored. It's been Superman, it's been Justice League, it's been Suicide Squad. I've heard a lot of rumors on all of those IP possibilities. I would like to see that. I think there's a 2% chance of that actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
But I would like to see that. I don't know. I'd like to see like a really cool
thing,
comic idea with creators that I know and like. Like, that'd be cool.
Well, especially since you've got till August to plan, it'd be really cool if they could get some creators of color now to work on, a book.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Start planning now, start thinking now, because now you've got all the time in the world.
It would be also really cool to see them maybe shine the spotlights on some lesser known characters or some newer characters that they've added, like the Signal.
The only problem that's going to work with that is you're going to have to figure out a way to get that stuff out there easily, especially with them leaving Diamond and especially with the global pandemic and people not buying comics. So the best way they could do that is, hey, we have 2 more DC Universe app shows like Harley Quinn or like Stargirl that highlight, a Martian Manhunter or a somebody small. That would be great.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads into what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for more DC Universe app content or an explanation of what's going to be happening. My dream is, hey, we're going to have a second subscription tier where if you pay $10 more a month, you can get, or whatever, $20 more a month, because I'm willing to spend, you get books the month after they release.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be really
It'll never happen. But I think the only thing that makes me more hopeful is the fact that they left Diamond. They're going with their own distributors now. They could feasibly do something along those lines, or you could buy new books in the app, something like that. Because then you have the Comixology issue. So I don't know if that'll ever happen, but my dream is to be able to get all my books in one spot.
It's been a while. Are DC books $3 or $4?
$2.99.
$3. So you figure you do that tier, then if you subscribe to it, that's almost like you're buying like 7-ish books a month.
Yeah.
Which is not bad by any means. Also, they get a bigger cut because they don't have to sell a book to a store that you then buy it from. So they would get all of that money. So that'd be an excellent business move, especially in the situation right now where it's just a struggle to sell books in person.
That's exactly what I'm hoping for. But the issue would be the Comixology. I'm sure they have legal licenses with Comixology to distribute DC books.
Or maybe for X number of years, it has to be on Comixology. It can't be free elsewhere until it's been on the marketplace for so a certain amount of time. Like, who knows?
Sure. Which is what they're seeming to do now, because they're putting the current stuff on the app. It's just like if they're on issue 100 of something, right now you're getting issues 60, 61, 62. So it's behind, or 70 and 70, whatever, but you're behind, but like you're getting it. Right. So like if I'm patient, I'll get all the books I want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to get it week of.
But you want to be part of the conversation.
Exactly. So that's the fandom. All exciting. In other DC news, we might get some information about this. The Flash movie.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton is currently in talks to play Batman yet again in the Flash movie. How hype am I? The answer is 1,000,000 out of 10. Matt, how hype are you?
Probably about the same. 1,000,000 out of
John?
10. I want to see him as an old Bruce Wayne. Give me the
We've been asking for it for years.
Give me the hope that
wouldn't it be Thomas?
He could play Thomas, or he could, we don't know what the Flash movie is going to do.
Yeah.
Thomas would make the most sense if they do Flashpoint, but maybe he goes to the Batman Beyond universe and plays Bruce. Who knows?
Because the one in here is from IGN, but I saw from a different news source that said in the Flashpoint movie, Michael Keaton is going to play Batman. So if it's Flashpoint, that's Thomas.
Then that would be
I'm
Thomas,
okay with that too.
I'm just I'm excited for him to potentially don the cape and cowl one more time.
Like until they say otherwise, saying the Flash or Flashpoint is they're both correct until they say otherwise.
Right, exactly. So, it also has to happen. Who knows if the movie will ever happen?
I hope so.
I hope so too. But with the DCEU's past, I don't hold my breath anymore.
Until we see a surprise teaser of people in costumes dancing around, we don't know that it's happening.
Exactly.
That's
until Jesse Eisenberg goes back in to record old dialogue and they put it over Gal Gadot. I don't know anymore.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Oh, it'd be so nice. We were talking about subscription-based models. Marvel Unlimited. Marvel Unlimited is the way you can get your Marvel comics. You can use their platform to take the comics you already paid for and put them digitally on Comixology or whatever e-reader you use. And it's also a way you can buy things in a subscription-based model to buy books, their back catalogs to pretty easily and pretty cheaply. It's a very cool model. They are going to be highlighting free comics by Black creators on Marvel Unlimited. This is super smart. Yeah. Not only ignoring all of the positive things this is doing for like business and stuff like that, because it will. It's going to highlight it's going to increase their profit margins and yada yada. It's such a smart thing to do because it takes no effort on their part to highlight creators of color.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Very smart. I'm very happy they did that.
Mm-hmm. It's very exciting. Some of the images we have: Black Panther, Long Live the King, World of Wakanda. The new Fantastic Four, Shuri, Falcon, Killmonger, Ironheart. There's a lot.
A lot. That's good. Yeah. Ironheart, I've never read.
Yeah.
I've never read that one. I have to check that out.
Yeah. That's very cool. Put that on the list.
Yeah. It was, I think that was the first one that I saw on that link was Ironheart.
Was Ironheart?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to do that. I still hope they do that in the movies. I hope they might end up retconning it to having Shuri be that, just because that's the universe they've built, and I could totally see that. But
yeah, that's like skipping Bucky Cap. Like it just makes more sense with the Marvel universe they've made.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what they've done. I like that. I like that. What is this J.K. Simmons thing that you posted?
So J.K. Simmons, aka J. Jonah Jameson, now and forever. He was asked recently how he'll fit into the MCU going forward. His reply was, well, there's one more appearance that's in the can.
Hey.
So
all right.
More JJ has been filmed.
Love it. You love to see it.
I know. He did say it's, as far as being like a bigger part of it, he said JJ is one of those like less is more characters, which he is super fine with. And he absolutely is a less is more character.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't see him in the Spider-Man game, period.
Yeah.
No.
And his presence is still felt with his radio show, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah, like so less is more is like, God, him in Far From Home was perfect. It was just like quick 30 seconds maybe.
Yeah.
Remember how shocked
that's all I even talked about. I could not believe it was happening.
I was so happy. I was so happy to see him as Jemisin again.
But
like I said, now and forever.
Yeah, absolutely. That's his. That is his. Yes, his ball game.
He's J. Jonah Jameson first and foremost. In the grand lineage of J.K. Simmons films, it's J. Jonah Jameson. However many times he plays that character, I don't care how many times it is. Then it's immediately followed by the Whiplash guy, and then literally anything else.
Yeah.
He's in something else I really like though.
He's in the Farmer's
Anything
which is fun.
He is good in that. Yeah. But there's something that like he was in. It's like a small role. He's funny in I Love You, Man.
Is he in Juno?
Yeah, he's in Juno. He's good
the father in Juno. Yeah.
He made a guest appearance in Brooklyn Nine-Nine this last season, which was wonderful.
Nice.
There was a movie he's in. What is it? There's a movie that he's in that I'm like can't remember off the top of my head right now. I'm looking at his IMDb page, and it's just like nothing crazy, not a huge role, but it's just like one of those things where he's just super entertaining,
phenomenal character actor.
He's
a good voice actor too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. I'm looking it up, so we can move on, but I'll find this eventually.
Announced by freecomicbookday.com. Free Comic Book Day this year will not just be a day, but it is going to be Free Comic Book Summer taking place
Move
July.
over, Hot Girl Summer.
Exactly. Move over, Hot Girl Summer. It's Free Comic Book Summer taking place
Move over, Hot Glen Summer.
taking place July 15th to September 9th this year. Basically, what it'll be is comic shops will receive 5 to 6 free comic book day titles in their weekly shipments during each week of the promotional window. Titles are going to be from, your big guys, Marvel, Image, DC, Boom, Dark Horse, IDW, Dynamite Entertainment, and a bunch of more. They do have a link on their website with the full list of what we're all going to be getting, or at least what you'll be able to see and check out at your local comic shops during this whole event. But it's exciting. I'm into it.
It's exciting.
That's as well you should be.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. The show I was thinking of was Oz, by the way. And Portal 2. He's Cave Johnson.
I forgot about Cave Johnson.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite roles of his. But yeah, it's that's exciting. It's smart of them to do a whole summer since we can't get into a store and you can't expect people to allow people to congregate like that right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, because like my free comic book day experience is like, if people go to a comic book shop once a year, that's the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a ton of people and it's very packed because comic book shops don't usually have a lot of floor space.
Yeah.
So you gotta like navigate in and out.
Once you get there, the books are very rarely worth grabbing.
Oh,
unless
absolutely.
They're from like so it's kind of nice they're extending it. Like it should be like this in the future where it's just like, hey, it's just like a subtle thing, and what it should do is promote like reading as opposed to selling. It shouldn't be I feel like I'm getting a pamphlet of advertisements when I get those books. Like it should promote
because it's a lot of issue 0 and like, want to see how this goes, you better buy issue 1.
Yeah, but and then every page is broken up by like a full page spread of like, buy this toy. It's like, dude, that's not what you should promote children buying books later, and you should promote children's literacy. Like that's what the whole thing should be about.
Right.
But whatever. Is what it is. I'm glad they're doing this extended period of time. But John, you had something else.
So we got a sneak peek of the Snyder Cut.
Yes, we did.
The sneaky peek.
Very excited.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
For those of you living under a rock for the past month and who just turned on this episode on a whim, Snyder Cut is Zack Snyder. I'm sorry. Zack Snyder is getting a handsome sum of money to finish his version of Justice League, and we got our first taste of it, and it's like 34 seconds long, but it's very exciting. Yeah. They show you Darkseid.
Yep.
Because that was filmed, as we mentioned earlier.
A shot of Darkseid. You get to hear Jesse Eisenberg
talk like the actual Lex Luthor.
Do his I think his last monologue at the end of BVS.
But sane.
And then you get Diana like referencing that as well, saying, well, the bell has been rung, he has heard it.
Yep.
And she looks scared.
Yep. It's right. Like we saw some emotion for the first time.
Doesn't take a lot, or it does take a lot to get Diana scared.
Yeah.
So that just kind of tells you this kind of imposing threat, and I love it.
I'm very excited to see what this one vision brought through all of this. Be great. Would see. I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we're all excited.
No release date, but it's pretty much confirmed for 2021.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, that's the most up to date information. That's what that says, and I couldn't come soon enough.
Yeah, agreed.
Same.
Agreed.
To quote Greg Miller, Kind of Funny's Greg Miller, it cannot be worse.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be worse. It can only be as bad as. Which, if that happens, it's just like, oh, okay, this is just a crap movie.
This was just doomed to fail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's what it is. We shall see, though. Is there anything else? Anybody else have any news? I'm good on news.
I'm good. I think we covered everything we needed to cover.
Let's get into the pull list.
Here's your pull list.
This week on the pull list, we are reading. See, I'm doing like a robot thing. We're in the future. Far Sector, written by N.K. Jemisin and drawn by, I had it here.
Jamal Campbell.
And I lost. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're doing so nice. You're doing wonderful helping. All of the art looks like it was done by Jamal Campbell, including inking, coloring, and covers. Far Sector. This book. Somebody told us to read this book, and I don't want to say who. I don't want to name names, but they said it was a complete story, and they were wrong. So I
would like to name a name.
I don't think we should. No, I messed up. I messed up pulling that out there. It was 100% my fault. I thought this was a complete 6-issue story. It's not. It's not. It's an ongoing story. It's an ongoing series. Oops.
That is not done yet.
But
nope.
It's good.
It's very good. But like, oops.
I think we should do, jumping way ahead. It's very good. I think we should commit to doing the next 6 issues whenever that happens, hopefully this year.
In a year when it's out.
Yeah.
It should, in theory, be this year, but it could be next year.
Yes, it's coming out now. The most recent one was released. Let's see here. When did it come out? It came out this month. So it came out the 2nd of this month. So we'll get the next one next month.
So if there's a delay, then it would be next year.
Yes. Well, we don't know. We don't know how long it's going to be. So, but let me just double check. I think everything's come out like month to month.
Yes, it should be.
Yeah. Everything's come out. It looks like month to month. So it shouldn't be too. Hopefully, if that continues, it shouldn't be too bad. But let's jump right into this book. We are following. This is a book about a Green Lantern who is not like other Green Lanterns, and it takes place far away from Earth. We follow Sojourner Joe Mullen. Sojourner is also, this is interesting, I looked this up. A sojourner is a person who resides temporarily in a place, but it's also referring to a woman named Sojourner Truth, who is a American abolitionist and women's rights activist. She was born into slavery and she was freed in 1826 in New York. She was born 1797 and lived for 30 plus years as a slave. And she was the first ever Black woman to win a case against a white man in a civil court or in a court of law, which is super cool that N.K. Jemisin named her character after this woman. Jemisin is known for books that I've enjoyed. The City We Became is the one that I'm reading right now, which is about the Avatar of New York. Very, very interesting. But she's a sci-fi writer. She's won a few Hugos, actually. She's very, very talented. She won a Nebula, she won an Audie, and she's won a Crawford. I don't know what a Crawford is, but I know Nebula and Hugos are both sci-fi awards. So that's super cool. Let's see let me see if I can find this one. She won a Locus Award. She won a lot of stuff. Holy cow, she has like 3 or 4 Hugos. She's pretty good, guys. She's won some awards. New friend of the show, N.K. Jemisin. Because we're such prestigious friends. I
think.
We should also. We should have mentioned this in the This Week in Geek. Patty Jenkins Funko Pop came out.
Oh yeah, right.
Very exciting.
Friend of the show, Patty Jenkins.
Classic friend of the show, Patty Pop.
Is just the longest, dumbest joke we've had.
It's never gonna stop.
Nope, it's not. I had a legitimate thought. Like, could you imagine if somehow this podcast got to Patty Jenkins and she said that she would do like a brief interview? I was like, I would dead game over.
That would be
never record that episode of the podcast.
That would be wonderful. Them's what dreams are made of.
That would be utterly fantastic.
So, Sojourner, I'm going to call her Joe because that's what people call her in this book. Joe is a green Green Lantern. She's very new to the game, and she has a ring that's unlike other rings, and we'll talk about that later in the book. But she was given this ring as a test. She was given a year to test it out and see what she could find. So she's on this planet, which is the Enduring City Enduring.
Yeah,
and this City Enduring is made up of. It's kind of hard to get the scale at times, but it's like millions
different
of like
plates.
Yes,
like
but the plates are like millions of miles apart.
Yes,
that's insane.
Yeah.
This is where sci-fi loses me sometimes. I get super like confused. But I
get it, man.
I liked it a lot. So she's on the city, and the city's had zero real violent crime for 500 years.
Yeah,
there's a murder.
She was hired for the first murder in 500 years. Now I know what you're asking. How do you not have a murder in 500 years? Well, what if you had no emotions?
Yeah, this was so
freaking messed up. So the world, the city Enduring consists of 3 races. I don't remember the plant one. I don't remember the plant one.
There's
the Na.
The
I know the Na, and then the Adat. I don't remember the third one. There's like apostrophes. I just don't remember the name of it. But they're like plant, like carnivorous plant people. Eat people. The Na have weird hands and elf ears.
And also
they're elves. They're just elves.
Tell me I'm wrong.
And tails.
and tails. And then the Adats are living data.
Yep.
These things are so it's pronounced AT-AT, but it's literally the at symbol, AT. That is how it is spelled, and they make a point to say yes, it is that. That's exactly what it is. And their names are like Twitter handles.
It's wonderful.
Yep. It's at something.
It's super duper.
It's really great.
So initially they lived across 2 planets, these 3 races. And
the trilogy is what they're called.
The Trinity.
Trilogy.
Trilogy, I'm sorry. And they helped each other evolve and advance. They shared their technology, shared their science. Then Alien Force came in and was like, hey, AT-AT, these other 2 races, they're messing your stuff up. Hey, nah, these other 2 races, they're messing your stuff up.
And the other race is called the Ketopli.
Thank you. Rolls right off the tongue. And then like, hey,
like topiary, you know.
It is. No, I get it. It's cute. It was not as easy to call to mind as
there's so much to try to remember in this book.
Yeah. But anyway, so to wrap with the mythos, it caused them all to fight with each other so badly. And they all had to come together and defeat this alien force. And they decided, hey, how do we not fight each other ever again? Let's get rid of our emotions. Let's have the emotion exploit where we just don't have them. Just straight up no emotions. And that's how you don't have a murder in 500 years.
So I think we've all at one point thought, hey, if I could just shut off my emotions, wouldn't that be great? These people decided to do that for 500 years, like 6 or 7 generations.
Yeah, centuries.
That's unfathomable. And she is the only one who has emotion now. Joe is the one who has emotion now on the planet, the whole planet. And so they want her to help solve the murder.
Who can legally have emotion.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. This is. I don't understand how like people's brain works to think of stories that are this creative, but I like reading them.
Well, then you juxtapose it with a Green Lantern.
Right.
Who is emotion based.
Yeah.
It is such a stroke of genius. I love it. I love this concept to death.
I wouldn't have thought of it, that's for sure.
The way this world is built is also like my kind of trash.
Oh yeah.
Like this is just excellent.
Yeah. It's very fantasy themed.
Yes, it is. That's why I love it so much. It's very steeped in fantasy, at least in my opinion. What really, really helps too is we don't have a huge expo dump on here's Joe. She grew up with this and blah, blah, blah. We don't have this origin story. We just jump in. It's what, in medias res? Is that the term? Just kind of jump in the middle of things?
Into what?
Where you jump into it? It's not important. It's like a
what was the phrase you said?
I try to be smart. It backfired. In medias res?
I haven't heard that phrase before that I can think of. But
it's okay. It's
fine. John, I love that you tried.
Thank you. But what I love about this character is how we learn about her in her own voice with her own personality. I got a very good concept of who she is before I was told or even shown who she is.
Yeah.
She described everything to us in her voice with her perception as to how ludicrous some things are. Mm-hmm. And that was very refreshing. It made the character very well-rounded, more so than, to be honest, Jordan ever has been, ever.
Oh, God.
I know her so much better than as a character than I do Hal Jordan. And I've read so much more Hal Jordan than I've read Joe.
Yeah, they don't even mention Hal Jordan. They mention Guy Gardner and Jon Stewart.
They make it a point to avoid mentioning Hal Jordan.
I like that they pick Guy Gardner too, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that later. Let's who is Joe? Let's talk about who Joe is from what we see in the first issue. Let's just talk about first issue Joe. First issue Joe is she's
investigating.
She's headstrong, and she's also a little scared. She definitely wants to solve this crime, but she doesn't necessarily know what exactly to do. And her constructs are very simple. She doesn't fly much from what we see in the first issue. She doesn't do a lot of the typical, quote unquote, typical Green Lantern stuff where it's like, never touching the ground, constant constructs that are weird and different. She's very unique.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she is... she also got one of the best costumes I've seen for a Green Lantern.
Yeah, I really like her costume a lot. It's really cool.
And it evolves over time.
She has gigantic shades with like no frames.
Mm-hmm.
That are very like Phoenix, classic 60s Phoenix looking.
Now, it's also have you ever watched the show Steven Universe?
I have not.
I have not.
I haven't either, but I've seen like stuff from it in the peripheral of life. And it reminds me of something from that.
Yeah, I think I know which
that show.
I think I know which character you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what her name is. I don't know anything about her, but like she's got big red glasses.
Yeah, people talk, or people dress up like Steven Universe characters at C2E2 and fans all the time. I just have no idea.
It's a very popular show.
Yeah.
What I also love is she has to solve this. She's here to solve this murder in a world that does not make a whole lot of sense to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she's been here for quite a while, as we find out in the second issue. But the first issue ends with her going to the council. So the council of the trilogy is one person from each race, and they have been there since their bloodline has been there forever, since the beginning of this society. And they're the people who decide everything. And
they rule on basis of a 2/3 majority.
Yeah.
Without emotion, you're able to look at everything rationally, 100% rationally, to an absolute fault.
Now, did you earlier when we were talking about this, when we were setting up, I was doing a little bit of research. Did you talk about why they don't have emotions?
Yes, because they did the emotion.
The inhibitor.
Emotion exploit.
Yeah, but it's got a turn. Exploit. Thank you. The emotion exploit. So when they're born, they at this point, I don't know if it's a process, an injection.
It's now become ingrained in the DNA.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yes. So they don't get a choice. They just don't get to have emotion. Period. So turns out there's this drug called Switch Off. Where it switches off the exploit to where they do get to feel.
Yep.
Oh,
so people aren't getting high; they're just feeling things.
Which, like, isn't that just like what all drugs are? I don't know. I've never done any drugs in my entire life. I have no idea what any of them do to you. But I know people
none.
Like. What's that?
None.
Literally none. I can honestly say I've done zero. I've done.
No, but like no idea.
I take Adderall every day because I'm legally prescribed it, and that makes me feel like a human being. So maybe that's how it makes people feel. Because if I don't take my Adderall, I feel like my brain develops 25 other brains, and they all talk about something stupid all day long, and I can't keep track of anything. ADD sucks. But that's beside the point. We're not talking about ADD. We're talking about N.K. Jemisin's wonderful book. The end of the first issue, she talks to the council, and they're like, "Oh, hey, go figure this out." And she's like, "I'm going to do it my way." And they're like, "We don't really care because we don't have emotion." So she goes and she wants to talk to the person. They have a suspect. They have the person who murdered the other person.
Also, what was how'd the victim die, Jeremy or Matt?
It's a great question. The topiary people, the Topli, they are literally plant-based, and the way that they used to eat is they would put themselves, a thorn of them would go inside a human or an organic of some sort, and it would then later burst out, destroying it and then consuming it.
Body and spirit.
This is a very, it's not just about meat. It is about meat. It is about eating, but it is also a very spiritual thing for these people, for this group of people, that they consume the spirit and body of a person. But this particular murder was done in this way, but it was not done in the ritualistic way. It wasn't done in the spiritual way. It was just pure, like animalistic rage. Like half of the body is gone, not all of it.
Yes.
So that's bad. It's clearly a sign of a crime of passion.
Yeah.
And so she goes to talk to the person who killed the first murder victim in 500 years, and they are also dead now.
Yep.
So issue 1 ends with the murderer of the murderer running away, and Joe needs to track them down. Issue 2 opens up. The cover of issue 2 actually is our first symbol of a John Stewart action figure, which is awesome. Right on the cover, there's a little tiny John Stewart action figure. I love that.
On the table.
Yeah. He shows up again too, which is cool. The little action figure.
The other thing that's cool is the opening of each of these issues is like it's Joe talking to the audience in some way. It's usually referencing a movie. Like this one is referencing The Matrix.
In terms of function, it reminded me a lot of Archie, the newer Archie we read, where he's like, "Hey guys, I'm in a pretty tough spot right now," like stuff like that. That's pretty much what he's doing to catch everyone up, which is not really what DC's known for, but I think it's a very refreshing take.
Yeah.
This one has a lot of feelings of those Marvel books, like the Squirrel Girl writer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where it has like those little asterisks that have little things in there. And yet DC can absolutely be kind of obtuse sometimes. And this one doesn't feel very obtuse in its welcoming of new people, especially since this is a book about a brand new character that was invented for this book.
Like even with Marvel, I will oftentimes just skip over that beginning bit unless it's been like a while since I've read. With these, I wanted to read them because they were done in such an entertaining style and did riff off like a movie or some other kind of trope. So it's done better here, in my opinion. So
she's chasing after the murderer, and she tracks him down into a room, but the room is actually a gigantic open atrium. And because people, one of the races, the Na, have wings.
Yep.
And they fly. So, of course, you have an open air atrium, but it is in the police station, so maybe it's not in the best spot. And the criminal has gotten away.
Yeah, she's like, "Who puts open air atrium in the middle of a police headquarters?" She goes, "Right, people with wings."
Yeah. So she takes off, flying briefly, but this is where we find out that she's very scared of flight. She's not good at it yet. And this is our first inkling of that. There also is the first big swear in this book. This is not a kid's book. There's an F word in this page.
There sure is.
There's a couple F words, and I gotta tell you, my Christian Minecraft server was appalled.
Just let the whole server know.
The whole server was very upset. No, but this is published under Young Animal, which is I believe Gerard Way led part of. I know his Doom Patrol's under that label. I think he's like not a producer, but like I thought he was like one of the people who like kind of helped co-found and like pave the way for Young Animal. It was developed in collaboration with Gerard Way. Cool. Yes, I was right. So it's not his young animal, it's DC's young animal, but he helped start it with Doom Patrol and things like that. This book is published under that part of DC, just like the DC Black Label is where we got like and other things like that. So the criminal gets away because she is having trouble flying and she can't track him down, and she ends up talking with the person from the Trinity who is the topiary person. Their name is Counselor. Yeah,
it's like Abbott.
Something like that.
Thought it was
Thorn. He's Thorn. His last name is Thorn.
Yeah.
Or his, because they don't have last names. But the name that he's given is Counselor Thorn. And, she's like, oh, so like this is kind of messed up. And he's like, yeah, well, this is a crime of passion. This is a crime, something like that. Like, we don't eat just to eat. And it's clearly they were feeling alone. And she's like, what do you mean alone? He goes, well, when the inhibitor is turned off for my people, we need to consume not just for meat, but we consume souls to not feel alone. The consumption of a soul is such a close experience that like it lets you be a whole person again, which is super interesting.
Yeah, and he tells her like, because you smell delicious as well.
Delicious.
Which sounds incredibly creepy at first. We later find out in this issue that means that they respect you.
Yeah.
But that he would still eat you. But he does respect you, but he would still eat you. It's a very thin line.
Well, like, don't they only eat somebody if there's like consent though? Now, right?
Now, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But back then they would eat each other. Then when they discovered the other planet and all the Na, they would then eat them.
Without consent originally.
Yeah, it was basically like vampires.
Yep.
Basically.
Yeah. Garden vampires. Yo, I'd read that book. Dracula, but it's like Dracula's shrubs.
He's a garden gnome.
And it's a garden gnome. Those things are actually terrifying. Moving on. Joe takes a little break, kind of disseminating what's going on. And this is when we find out that she's been here for like a couple months at this point. And the person she's staying with is they don't have police chiefs. They have peacekeepers, peace counselors, peace officers, or something
peace
like that.
Defenders, I think.
Something like that. I forget exactly what they're called, but she's hanging out. She's staying with one of the peace defenders who she calls Nix.
Citizen.
Szyn. SZYN.
It's like citizen without the...
Yeah, SYZN.
Yeah, and Szyn is in our biology, she would be considered she looks female. She's got similar hair to Joe too, which is cool.
Yeah.
And she has like blue lines on her face. They're all very, I read the little blurb, there's a little interview with N.K. Jemisin and the author and the artist of this book, like, oh, so like when you were just creating this thing, what did you want to do? And she's like, well, I wanted to make the aliens feel human, but not human. Like there's a comfort there, but there's definitely like, you're on your toes. Like you're waiting for something to go wrong. And I definitely got that feeling from Szyn here. I
think that was crushed.
Yeah. They knocked out of the park.
Every non-human character I have seen here like is very relatable, very real. Like, yeah, their culture is super not what I'm familiar with, but I get them.
Yes. There's a familiarity in aesthetics that is kind of, once you go deeper and deeper, they're not familiar at all, but it's in it's not like a Lovecraftian, I have no idea what I'm looking at. You see it, you just don't understand it. It's cool. But these two, they tried to date briefly, but now they just kind of have physical relations when they want to. But she's talking, and this is when we get the explanation of smelling delicious as a high compliment for the Topley race. That's kind of cool. Her and Szyn talk about, the switch off and is it an okay drug to use? Like, what does it do? Szyn is, I would never do that, but I understand why people have done it. I really thought that you were kind of a freak when you first got here. And Joe's like, well, I thought you were a freak. So, hey, it all works out.
I also
Joe
love
continues
the
to
running gag of Joe and her coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, go talk about that.
That's
You're a big
such a good
boy.
B thread. Huge coffee. So Citizen's trying to make her coffee because coffee does not really exist this far out in this far sector, if you will. So she goes, here, you'll like this one. It's way better than last time. Joe's like, yeah, I hope so. The last one was actually toxic.
It was cyanide.
Yeah.
And she's like, how was I supposed to know you can't handle cyanide? Or just keep track of that.
And she
So
says,
she's
oh,
like-
yeah, well, I just sent in my medical records. But yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, she's like, this is the worst. In her mind, she said, this is the worst tasting stuff I've ever had. This is great. Thank you.
This one is it's caffeine. It is it is literal caffeine. And then she's like, oh, you said it smells nice, so I got my favorite essentially essential oil of sandalwood because I like the smell of sandalwood, and I poured that in too. He's like, oh, this is horrible. I hate this.
I don't want to drink a table.
Yeah, it's bad. So Joe is continuing to look into the crime, but here's the thing. Just because you have advanced technology doesn't mean that bad camera angles don't exist. The cameras didn't get all the information that she needs. And she's continuing to look into this. She goes to see the head of the NA was like, hey, you should come see me sometime. I want to talk with you one-on-one. She's like, a couple of days later, she's like, oh yeah, hey, Counselor Marth, the leader of the NA, I'm definitely coming to see you. She's like, yeah, no, it's fine. Come on in. And they dance.
Yeah.
And I don't dance. Two, I do understand that dancing is a very emotional thing. Usually it's not robots don't dance well.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually a pretty emotional thing, like tangos and waltzes involve.
Especially
emotion.
when it shows them dancing. They're very close. They're looking into each other's eyes.
What I
And
was going to say was like,
both very attractive people.
This is not what I would imagine an emotionless person doing.
Yeah.
So to see this is a huge juxtaposition to what I thought would happen here. And they almost kiss and she's like, hey, listen, we got official business. And he's like, yeah, of course. Sure. Official business. I feel this way. And he keeps dropping these statements
more like business time.
Yeah, right. He keeps dropping these phrases that involve a lot of emotion that to you and I, we say stuff with emotion all the time. Like, oh, that really upset me, or I'm really excited about this. But we have emotion. These people don't have emotion. And yes, there's some carryover in language because you can't get rid of all emotions in language. It just works. But he's saying a lot of things with emotion. It's weird. And she's like, oh, you're high. You're on the juice. You're switching off. And he's like, yeah, man, I am. I'm switching off. End of the issue. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Okay, this is getting really spicy.
It should be noted that this guy has some of the coolest hair I've ever seen.
Yeah.
As does Joe, to be honest. We didn't talk much about.
Love Joe's hair.
I don't know the proper term, but it is up and it is forward. And
it looks like Janelle Monáe's hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a bouffant, I guess.
Kind of.
I don't know hair.
I'm looking this up now. Now I'm confused. I don't understand hair because my hair is either in a hat or not in a hat. That's it.
Very versatile.
That's not true. Sometimes it goes into a small man bun. So pompadour. There you go. It's a pompadour. So I almost said Janelle Monáe. Joe has a very cool looking pompadour, and the leader of the NA, Counselor, I just said it, Marth, has these amazing dreadlocks. They're so long
down to his waist
and clean looking,
and
crisp.
There's jewelry in them.
Oh man, it's cool.
Yeah, he classy.
Yeah, you can tell this guy has a lot of money and time invested in his hair, and it is working. Not just for me, but for Joe as well. Issue 3 is when we see a little bit more of this man from a switched off perspective. He talks about why he takes this is also, we don't get an intro to this issue. It's a direct continuation.
Yeah.
Of the story. We don't get the cool little intro on this one, but that's okay.
There's a thing basically from the ring, from the Green Lantern ring at the beginning, that's to take the place of it.
It's Owen Intelligence Extrajudicial Traditional File Archive.
Jurisdictional.
Yeah, whatever John said. Big words for smart boys. And
I'm a smart boy.
You are a smart boy. Good job, buddy. So they're playing. He's like, you should play this game with me. It's called. And I like this. So sometimes in this book, they have. So she can translate anything with her ring and with her ring, but they don't always show what the actual translation is. They let her do the translation because she later in issue 5 says that she intentionally doesn't use the one that the council was going to give her, because the one the council gives her just kind of dubs over everything like a bad anime.
I thought it was the other way
ring,
around. I thought the ring dubbed everything, but the council one did subtitles.
Is it?
I thought it was the other way around.
Then why didn't she take the council one?
She did take the council one. She just doesn't. She chooses not to use the ring one.
Oh, okay. I misread that part. Thank you, Matt. Well, the one that she uses creates subtitles so that she can also kind of learn the language own slowly. So you get these moments where, like, it's written in an alien language in the book, and then she's like, "Oh, you said this?" And it's like, "Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that." And this one, he says a word, and like the game's called blah 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 blah. It's like, "Oh, Civil War." He's like, "Oh, I guess that's the translation." Like, that's kind of messed up, and it looks like chess, but it's got 5 like starting areas and a big black hole looking thing in the middle, and there's these rebels that jump into the game and they can't be controlled by the player character. It's weird, but it looks like it's a politics game. It looks like something that the Emperor would play with Anakin.
Yeah, it looks like that game
at like an opera, for example,
out of Star Wars, like you see on the Falcon and stuff. It looks similar to that, but like more chess.
Exactly. She doesn't want to play with him right now, in more ways than one. And then he unswitches off. He's like, "Okay, your objection has been notified about, everything going on around the world, and blah 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 blah." Because they talk for a bit, and she's like, emotions and like rationality. And he's like, "Haha, I disagree." Whatever. It's there's some good character development here with this, but it's without reading it word for word. I think I would do it a disservice. And then she goes home, and her AI assistant.
So the gamer in me, he's like, "Shall we play?" She goes, "Maybe. I'm just gonna go home. It's been like a long day." The gamer in me is like, she doesn't know how to play.
Right. Which I'm also glad that they don't try to show the game, because like there's no way the rules would make sense. No, I'd much rather never know.
And they don't have to, because who knows this culture? Maybe it makes sense within context of this culture, because this culture is very topsy-turvy.
So she goes home, and her AI assistant is like, "Oh, so like he's hot and you like want the counselor?" She's like, "No, why do you say it?" It's like, "Well, you're like staring off into the distance." And I use that voice because her AI is the Icon has cheeseburger cat. It's the AI's name is Can Has.
That's originally it was. That's her nickname.
That's her nickname.
Yeah, that's her nickname, because her is at I Can Has Earth Stuff 01. And she's a fan fiction writer and reader. And her people subsist on memes. That's how they live.
It's beautiful.
That's their eating and drinking is memes.
There's also a sense that data takes quite a while to get from Earth to here.
Yeah, months and months.
I get a sense that they're getting these memes. Like, if this were to take place in present day, the memes are a few years old. I guess.
I mean, let's say it's taking place in 2019. Let's just say that. The Icon Has cheeseburger thing was 2005.
Yeah, it is well old.
Oh, God. But she has cat ears. And at first I'm like, well, this is stupid. And then I kept reading, this is stupid.
And then you love the character.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever get to that point.
Oh, man.
But, maybe that's just me. I do love the way I do love the interactions of the character. I love that she is so just dumb and fun and super interesting.
She's goofy,
it's great
and spunky and fun, and I love
She's fantastic. This is my favorite part of the entire book. This next part. So she's talking about, your dad, we got email from your dad. It's coming. It should take a couple months to get here, because, your universe is in the boondocks of the or your world's in the boondocks of the universe. Haha. Like, okay, cool. Thanks. And she talks about how she used to watch Westerns, but lone sheriffs on distant frontiers usually don't leave families behind. And she's curled up in a ball on her bed, just bawling her eyes out because she misses her family, obviously. And she can't sleep. And so she goes to try to, look more into that investigation.
She got a call.
Yes.
She got a call.
These 2 panels here of her in bed crying tell me more about Joe than anything that you could have written. You could have written a whole 70 series novel, each one of those being 200 pages or 300 pages. And I don't think it would have told me as much as these 2 panels could have.
And it feels much more authentic because the whole story is narrated in Joe's voice with her mannerisms, with her phrasing.
Now you're one of the people, John, that I know that is not the biggest fan of the voiceover typically as a story trope. And I can absolutely agree with that. How do you feel about how it's used in this book?
In this book, I think it's used very, very well because I get a sense of who this character is as a person, not just what has happened to this character, which is very hard to do.
Yeah.
I agree. The call that she is sent out on what is essentially, she says 0:30. So it'd be like 12:30 in the morning.
It was dark 0:30.
Dark 0:30, so 12:30.
Yeah.
And so she's sent out to check out a protest. And, protest in her mind initially is like, oh, yeah, a couple people. Nah, it's like
guys,
10 million people.
I get you guys haven't had crime, but a protest is not something you need to call in the reserves for.
Yikes.
She had to take the subway, which is a subdimensional transport to get to where the protests are.
Subdimensional way station.
Yeah.
Because they're millions of miles apart. It's so cool.
Just an idea of just the
this world's awesome.
this whole thing. How big this place
I can't grasp the scale in my head.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Also, so these races, they ward with each other so bad that the planets are uninhabitable. So this world is artificial. Everything survived for a bit on space stations that more or less became city states or countries. So when you meet people, they have a thing of the freezing ice or something like that.
For the they have those long
titles. Yeah, they have a ship name, and it's really cool. It's just really cool.
Name of the name from the name of.
They do that in Mass Effect, and I was a big fan.
Well, it makes sense in space, right? Because names all come from, or names. A lot of names came from what you did as a job, right? Like Johnson you were John's son. People who are named Smith were Smiths, things like that, right? So it makes sense that if you're in space and you don't have you've only got so many jobs to name people after. Eventually you're probably gonna be named, Matt of the Citadel, right? That's where you're from, or Matt Citadel, or Matt, Scrapper. That's where you're from. That's what you do. It makes sense. I like that.
On a quick aside, Matt, can you imagine Matt of the Citadel?
I'd be a big fan. I would.
It's the only thing from Mass Effect I know, so I just pulled something out of my butt.
That's a main thing.
I would cool. To every shop and go, my name is Matt of the Citadel, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
That's all that I know it from is the meme. This is my favorite thing on the Citadel. Those YouTube poop things. Remember those? Oh my God, they were bad.
Again, 2005.
Yeah, no, that lasted a little longer than Icon has, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she goes to the protest. She's like, oh, yeah, it's the few people. Oh, my God, it's 10 million. It's the whole group. And the protest is over. You've got the people on one half are pro-emotion. The other ones are anti-emotion. And it's not going great.
Legalize the switch off, man.
Yeah, man. Legalize it. I love it. This is why you're the perfect end to the talk and to my talk and John's trades. No, John's trades. I'm talk.
Sure.
That's what you just said.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm tired, man. Shut up. I don't like you anymore. The cops are like, yo, we're going to start shooting at people unless you can figure this out. It's like, okay, I'll go figure it out. And she actually does a pretty good job of like calming them down.
Yeah.
And like, all right, you know,
well, she's like, hey, like, don't kill people.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what else can we do? We've asked them to leave and they have not, therefore.
And she's like, what about talking? And they're like, ew.
She's like, okay, but like, don't.
What are you, a human? Oh, wait.
I get like you're new to this, but like, don't.
Yeah. So she goes over and talks and she's like, hey, so like, what's your deal? And they're like, they want emotion. She's like, okay, well, what's your deal? And like, we want emotion. She's like, okay. Here's the
other
deal.
Side's like, no, that's obviously you're druggies. That's why you want emotion, because you've had this drug.
Yeah.
That's only what a druggie would say.
That's council propaganda, etc., etc.
It's like, but we aren't given the option. We just don't get to have emotions.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you
and so
could
she's
never
like, you
have
know
emotions.
what? She says, you know what, people who want emotions, tell you what, you write up a list of demands or things that you're looking for, and I will take it to the council and I will talk to the council. And the other side's like, oh, so you're just going to let the criminals do what they want? Have you no respect for law and order? Flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Flashing back
this does stun the pro emotion crowd because they've never been given the light of day. The council's never taken a moment to hear what they had to say. And now she's like, cool, well, I'm going to bring it right to them. So they will at least see and hear your demands.
We
and
then
like,
flash
this is awesome.
Joe's mind to America and the concentration camps for the Japanese internment camp for the people during Pearl Harbor, the Nixon-Agnew era of, you know, politics and the, you know, lack of regard for human life, the bring our cops back and the Black Lives Matter protests, which super poignant right now, obviously. But like, man, oh man, could this have been more like contemporary?
It blows my mind that this book is being released actively now.
Right.
But
it's pretty
had to have been written last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
It's pretty perfect.
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
Yeah, started coming out in 2019. November 2019 was the first issue. That's amazing. Amazing. But to that point, right, like how many times has this exact story been told that we've said, oh man, that's bad, and then moved on as a society.
Yeah.
So it just worked out perfectly, thank goodness. We also see a flashback
come up in a bit.
It sure will.
Joe as a cop, and another cop is beating somebody with the butt of his gun and saying, stop resisting. And then we cut back to what's happening right now. And the people who are anti-emotion say, well, shouldn't the council hear our side? And she's like, nah, you shut up. You've had almost 1,000 years of this. You can shut up.
Yeah.
Which, like, yes, dude. Yes. I screenshotted that and I'm putting it out on our Twitter. Like, that's like, that is the best, you know, all lives matter. No, shut up.
Yeah.
Everyone's heard what you have to say for a long time. It's time to hear the disenfranchised talk. She's not saying that the exact point is she's not saying that the people who don't want emotion are invalid, but she's just not giving them the attention they want right this second. And they're whining about it. And
they're fully aware of what you want. In fact, they've been doing it.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. Well, what about straight pride parades? You know, shut up. Those are just called parades.
She unfortunately runs a little out of time.
So
we mentioned the ring is unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did
it's
mention
also
that.
A different design, and it's really, really cool. I like her ring a lot.
It looks super personal.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, let's talk about that for 1 second. How come all the rings aren't personal? Like, how come you don't get like everyone gets like a super basic band, but then like when you put on the ring, it like looks like your ring. Right. That's a cool idea.
That'd be a really cool idea. And like you see it with her constructs too. Like when she made the 2 force fields, you saw like the flowers and stuff, like kind of reminiscent of her ring with like how it looks like it's made out of wood and stuff. And there's a peace sign on there, which is cool. I
like that a lot.
I dig it.
Like you could have the different rings. Like Kyle Rayner would have like a really like weird looking Picasso ring, right? Guy Gardner would have like a boxing glove. Jon Stewart could have like a military looking one or like a metal looking one, and then Hal Jordan could have a piece of white bread.
My guess is that
I just wanted to set that joke up.
Jumping a little ahead, my guess is that this is possibly the only time a ring was made specifically for an individual. Possibly.
You got to assume, right?
Right.
So because of that, it was able to be a little more personalized.
Right.
I would really like that as a concept. Pie in the sky. But yeah, so Matt, you said she runs out of time. You're exactly right.
Yep.
The cops are like, you know what? And they start just shooting people. They kill 12, hitting others, and she stops them with her amazing ring. And this is great. This is the second F word, which, you know, the dollar in a swear jar, but
it's more of an MF word, but yes.
Well, the M word is okay. Mother is okay. The F word is the problem.
That's $2 in the swear jar. You can get yourself an ice cream cone.
Well, then she says that they peed her off. That's 50 cents in the swear jar. Or is piss me off is probably like 25 cents. F is $1. Everything else is 50 cents.
We don't need to break down the economy quite so hard.
Well, thank God, because if we did, I'd be broke. So then we get the issue ends with her like, you know, you've made me mad. You've peed me off. She says, I swear. And then she slams her ring, using her ring. She slams down with like energy and stops the shooting. And we cut to the next issue where we get a really cool kind of grainy old film reel kind of her talking. This is her introduction to this issue. And she's talking. She's like, you know, nobody here is able to keep this place peaceful, but little old me. And, you know, it's this new drug switch off is kind of messing with everybody. And nobody has a clue how to handle everything except for me. Welcome to Far Sector. And it's her. I'm doing this on an audio podcast. I need to describe this better. She cocks her hand back to punch in one panel, and the next panel is her ring coming right into the camera, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're getting punched in your face. That's super cool looking.
Yep. That just reminds me of Independence Day.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
welcome
to Earth. This is Welcome to Earth. That is. God, how did I miss that?
Brilliant.
That's exactly what this is. The face, the little eyes in there too, and the tentacles. Dang it, John. This is a smart boy.
Smart boy.
I'm so mad I missed that. Welcome to Earth. She even says welcome to Far.
I know.
I'm so dumb.
It's okay.
No, I'm so dumb.
In 2020, you're not really supposed to expect Independence Day.
Nobody inspects the Spanish Inquisition. Oh man. All right. Yes. Very good. I'm an idiot. She this issue opens up with her talking to the cops and is like, hey, what are you doing? And they're like, we were told. She's like, you know what? Go talk to the councilman. And he's like, the councilman's the one who said to do this.
Yeah, Councilman Marth said.
And she's like,
gave the order.
Oh, that's bad. And then she's like, okay, well, how about this? You're stopping. And he's like, I don't think we are. And she goes, okay. And she blasts with her ring. She destroys one of their like tank things. Yeah. Not anybody though. She doesn't hurt anybody. She's really good at that. She's like, how about this? You're done now. And he's like, okay, yeah, we're done now.
Yeah. Let's run through it using Taste examples. Using weapons on an unarmed crowd, all because they might get out of hand, not peace. Blows the thing up. See what I did there?
Was that not peace? Love it. I love that. And so she flies away. And she's like, all right, I'm going to go talk to the council. You're done here. And then some guy just kind of phases in.
Yeah, it's an ad. That's
one of the edits.
Yeah.
Shows up. And he's like, hey, so like her ring is different. Subtle, but significantly different. And we're like, uh-oh. Stuff's happening. And this is where we get the reference to Jon Stewart and Guy Gardner. It's like, yeah, I've studied other rings.
Yeah, he has combat data on them, which is curious.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is, but he sounds like a bad guy.
Well, like he brings up that he has combat data, and the peace officer,
Lillage,
was like, how do you have that? And he's like, don't ask.
Like, do I even want to know?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
So the ring keeps recharging constantly when it's not in use. She does not have a battery.
No.
But the more she uses it, the more it needs to recharge on its own. It cannot. This process cannot be expedited. So the inference here is that if she uses it more and more and goes around helping more and more people, she will need to take more time off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's bad. And to that point, she begins to help the damages from the protests. She saves a bunch of people. But there's still the people who died. And then she sees people down on the ground waving what she calls her very own low rent bat signal.
Yep.
And it's just people waving around essentially a poster board with the Green Lantern symbol on it. She's like, okay, so who are you? You got my attention. They're like, well, I am the person who was murdered in the first issue. I am his wife. And that person's name is Steven, but it's Steven. And she's like, I'm Steven's wife. And he's like, oh. She's like, Joe's like, oh, I've been trying to talk to you. But the council was kind of dragging their feet on getting me your information. She's like, yeah. But stuff's messed up. She's like, yeah, stuff is messed up. But don't you think this is kind of not the right way to go about it? And she's like, so was this all worth it? And the lady says, was my husband's life worth it? Yes. Mm-hmm. This was all worth this is all worth it. And she's like, well, okay, so what are you upset about? She's like, well, the emotion exploit is bad. It was needed when we first started as a society. It was something that you had to have just to get us all to a place where we could learn how to cohabitate and live. Now we know how to do that. We don't need it. It's only hindering us. It's hurting us, especially for people like the Topleys, who, if something bad happens, they don't get the opportunity to slowly, what's the word I'm looking for?
Acclimate.
That's the word. Reacclimate to life. Their base instinct is to feed, Munch. And that's not fair to them. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing a lot because there's a lot of good dialogue here.
Yeah,
but she's like, you need to talk to the council. You have to talk to the council about this. And Joe's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And she does. And the council's like, whatever, you're the worst. And she brings all their demands. And this is great. She says, hey, don't everyone talk at once, especially don't talk about ordering this, the cops to fire on the peaceful protesters. And Councilman Narth goes, don't get emotional. And Joe goes, oh, is that what we're going to do? We're going to fight? I love that. And she's like, you don't get to call me here to use my emotion and then get mad when I use it. Mm-hmm. And the Topley guy is like, you're right. And Martha's like, you know what? I can agree. Maybe we do need to talk about a referendum to the emotion thing, but maybe we'll have to do that in a little bit of time. These things take time. It's like, oh, she's like, okay, fine, but I'm going to be here doing what I want to do to help these people. I'm not going to be stopped by your cops. You can't do that. And as this is happening, there's a woman standing there who's an assistant of some sort, and she's transmitting what is being said to somebody we don't see off screen.
Very blue paint makeup across her entire top of her face, cloak.
I think it's just part of their skin.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they just all have
or maybe it's like a Maori thing
where it's marks.
Permanent tattoo.
Yeah. Maybe. Don't know. It's not said, but we don't need it said.
They show the people with that stuff when they're in their quote unquote casual times with the stuff still on their face. So I'm assuming it's just on there all the time. Yeah. But yeah, so this is the most interesting part of this. They're she's like, this is clearly the 500 years that this has worked. It's not working anymore. And the Councilman Thorne says, well, that's the thing. This has happened before.
And we handle it the same every other time.
Yep, 12 times.
And she's like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, every time this happens, we just silence the minority and we shoot them and kill them and we move on. And it's like, that's what?
And you get another 500 years of peace. It's fine.
Yep.
How many times has this happened? 12.
12 times.
And they saw this coming because it's the same events keep happening leading up to it. Yep. So they saw this coming. It happened just as they saw it coming.
But that's
why they decided to bring in the lantern.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is the worst one so far. So they brought the Green Lantern, and she's like, "So you want me to go home so you can just kill everybody?" And they're like, "No, we don't want you to go home." And the AT-AT counselor's like, I kind of do." And Thorne says, "Hey, shut up. You agreed to follow what the 2/3 majority says, and 2/3 says we're down with the Green Lantern. So you shut your mouth." It's like,
harumph.
She literally has like a fan.
Yeah,
I love her so much.
She looks like the the caricature of a Twitch streamer who is out of touch with reality.
Who just begs for $5?
Yeah. Oh my God. I wasn't going to get specific, but yes, exactly that. If you have time to be on the council, you have $5.
It's not that
and if you
much.
don't, then you're just saying, you're not saying that I don't have money. You're saying I can't manage my money because I'm a council.
We're thinking the exact streamer.
Oh, yeah.
Talking trades, throwing shade.
We're like talking trash.
Yo, you know what? That's the quickest way to get popular is to start a feud online.
You're absolutely right.
But that's a feud I'm down to start because she's wrong. So I'll fight her. I'll disagree with her. I'll fight her in the court of public discourse. Anyway, hey, hot take. Don't be mean to people. Yeah, I know. Strange.
Also, don't manipulate strangers into giving you $5.
Hot take, John. Hot
Just
take.
saying. Just saying.
Hot take. So the council's like, yeah, this happens. She's like, oh, so that's done forever. You're never doing that again. Hey, and they're like, all right, well, do you have any recommendations for the record? She's like, yeah, stop killing people. How's that?
Yeah, the same thing I said before, idiots.
Just be cool. How about just be cool? Oh man, it's great. It's really great. And she's like, so here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna continue doing what I want to do. For this place, because you brought me here to do that. You're going to at least talk about a referendum, and you're going to hear people's thoughts. And they're like, okay, deal, we will.
Also, just really quick, the interaction here I love is they're like, you dare to tell us about our jobs? And she's like, and Joe's like, yeah, if you're not doing them, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
God,
1,000,000%. Hey,
she's great, you guys. She's great. I would love her to stick around.
Me too.
But I don't know if, because this is I believe it's a 12-issue like limited run. I don't know if she's going to, but
here's the thing, right?
She's great.
Here's the thing. If she gets popular enough, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, she was already going to be kind of popular, but the fact that everything that's happening right now is happening, I bet she gets even more popular. They might keep her around.
Yeah.
Maybe at the fandom they'll announce that she's going to be a part of they're going to replace Jessica Cruz and Bass, and she'll get her own book.
What if
you don't even have to do that. Just release another 12 issue in a year or two.
I would. You know what? I'm gonna change my statement from This Week in Geek. What I would love to see at fandom is they announce there's a Green Lantern show. She's going to be the Green Lantern.
That'd be cool. That'd be really, really
again,
cool.
pie in the sky. This hasn't wrapped up, so there's again like a 0% chance of it happening. But
more realistically, Jon Stewart gets his own show.
I would love that.
That would also be good. Just like no one. So I know a lot of people who like Green Lantern. I don't know anyone who's like, Hal's my favorite.
I know one person.
Yeah?
Jeff Johns.
He did go well out of his way to make him the canonically best Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
It's an audio podcast, but I roll my eyes super hard.
Joe, a week since the protest and a couple weeks out from the referendum, she is kind of living her life, trying to continue to research things. You get a really cool interaction here where she meets one of the plant people, and it's a giant green woman with pink hair, and I love it. Mm-hmm. And I say woman again. When I say man or woman, I am not saying this is their definite like pronoun. This is just what I'm seeing in a visual medium. I'm making an assumption.
Yeah.
To us, again, not experts.
And at this point, it's like you said, it's been a week. We did before we do find out that it'll take 5 full days for her ring to recharge after her display of
from like
power.
A full use. Yeah.
After her display of power at the
it was at like 8% after
it was
all
at
that.
8%.
Yeah, between the protests and then flying to the council and all that stuff. Yeah, that was a lot of ring usage, obviously. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. This 8%. Is chapter 2.
That's definitely some foreshadowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or basically, this is chapter 2 of her like struggles with local food.
Yes, and so she talks to this creature, and they give her something, and she says, "Oh, try this, you'll like it." And she tries it. She goes, "What is this? Third $1 in the swear jar?" She says that for it again.
What is this?
She says, "What the F is this?" And she says, "Told you." She's like, "Give me more.
Give me more, please."
And
damn.
She walks away with like
gallon
those like
jugs.
Not 5 gallon.
The water,
the 5 gallon water cooler.
The 5 gallon water cooler jugs.
That's awesome. I love that so much. And
but in her narration, it does say, "My father reads history books for fun." Yeah, I know, but he once told me once, nobody that's got power gives it up without a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, love that. She is then continuing to go over documents, pictures, and she's trying to find a pattern. The AI is like, like it'd be crazy if like AIs could like recognize patterns, right? And she's like, I'm trying to do this like a cop.
But like
the cat lady's like, but like,
I'll just be here.
Like I can help.
It'd be weird, right? Live in data. Like we know a thing about search engines, but I'm sure you're doing great.
No, I'll just look at cat memes instead.
Whatever.
Look at my fingers.
But this is where we actually find something out about the AT-AT people that is super humanizing. They are, yes, they're sentient AI, but they have been relegated. They have been essentially used. I'm going to use the metaphor of the Chinese people who built the railroad. They have been treated like chattel, like less than human, less than mattering for a long time. And a lot of them work in mines, and they mine data. They're like Bitcoin people. The people who buy like the really expensive computers to mine Bitcoin, and they're able to mine Bitcoin way faster than any other device. And they quote unquote choose to work in the mine. But the thing that I have seen, especially as of late, talking about capitalism being just a horrible way to run a society, if the choice between work
early and mid, late,
the choice between like if you either work or die, you don't have a choice.
No.
So they're choosing to work in the mines, but it's not really a choice. So, and she's like, so Joe's like, so how long were you in the mines? And she's like, oh, I was in there for blah, 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 alien language. This is where we find out that she, just like you said, Matt, you were correct that it's this council's translator, the babble fish, essentially. Helped her understand language. And she's like, oh, it was for blah, blah, blah. It's like 50 years. It's like, oh, so that's a long time. Yeah, it's a long time. So but like, that's insane. That's
to
just
make it then worse. She follows up with, well, also like a minute to like you guys, or what is it?
A year to you guys is like a minute.
Is like a minute for us. So 50 years times a gigantic multiplier.
Well, how many minutes are in 1 year, John? I don't know. I wish there was like some fun way, like to a song or something.
If I had to guess,
yeah, just make a guess.
529,600.
525,000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
you do know the movie?
I do. So for reference, that is 2,628,000 minutes in 5 years. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
So she's essentially worked in the mines for 2,600,000 years. Okay. So she helps she's like, all right, fine, AI, you can help me. Also, I appreciate you more as a person. I love you. And this is where we get, this issue is the quote unquote origin story for Joe. And I like how a lot of this stuff is, Matt, you're art boy, you're smart. Yeah. Do you have any idea what that's called when you have like a picture and it's mostly gray or mostly blue or mostly black, and then one or two colors are highlighted?
Colored. I don't. But I thoroughly enjoy
it is Sin City
when it is used.
Yes, Sin City.
No, I have no idea what it's called. Mainly because my art is more of the audio nature, not the visual.
Probably not the right term, but like it is a contrast.
Yeah,
selective.
I'm sure
coloring.
There's a more specific term.
Selective coloring is what it's called in like Photoshop and stuff.
I enjoy it when it's used. I always like when there's like black and white, and then like we saw in Animal Man, right, during the dream where the only thing that you could see was the red. I loved it.
The thing that people may know, the most famous version of this is in Schindler's List. The little girl with the red scarf, a red jacket, and the rest of the movie's in black and white. The only thing that's in color is that little girl's red jacket, and she obviously dies. She's a Jew, and she dies in the concentration camps, and that red jacket is still red even when it comes out of the, she goes to die and all this. It's a very famous scene. That's what we're talking about here, if you're not sure.
They also use it in the Best Buy commercials where the blue is visible.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I didn't know that. So we see this flashback to Joe and her family, and she has two siblings, a mom and a dad, and the mom and a dad are talking about how the mom didn't get a promotion because a white man got it instead, despite the fact that she's incredibly qualified. They're doubling the rent on their house. Everything's going to be okay. We're going to make through. The next shot is it's not okay. Stress has clearly gotten to their family, and they get divorced. The mom and dad get divorced. Jo lives with her dad, it looks like, or she spends a lot of time with her dad. Mm-hmm. And then the words that come up on the page are, then everything changes. The world isn't fair, but you can want it to be. That's kind of a hunger too. Then everything changes, and 9/11 happens. Yep. She witnesses the second plane hit the tower as they're walking out of the divorce court, and the first thing that she thinks to do is not what I would think to do, which is stand there and gawk and be terrified. The first thing she thinks to do is run and help people.
Yeah, her and her dad run and help people,
which is incredible.
Yeah, I really like that.
I'm with you. I love that too. She then graduates summa cum laude from from Princeton, which is cool. But as soon as she does that, they go to a restaurant, and a white man comes up and says, "If you don't order something, I'm going to have to call the police." And she says, "We've been here for less than 5 minutes."
Yeah, we've been here for 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, she doesn't graduate from Princeton. She graduates from, looks like, from random university. Then she gets 2 letters in the mail. No, because she gets accepted to Princeton.
Yeah, she gets accepted to Princeton.
She never graduated from Princeton, though.
Gets a letter from the armed forces. I think she joined.
Princeton is a grad school at this point. Like, this is where she gets a diversion where she graduates from a college. I'm going to just say NYU, because a lot of people in the Marvel universe graduate from NYU, and I think that's cool. But anyway, it's a college is the point. And then she gets accepted to Princeton University, but she also gets a letter saying that she has been, they don't say exactly what, but it's like she has a choice to make: grad school or the army.
Well, I see it as she got accepted to Princeton. She went also the army. She took the army. Army wasn't for her, so then she took Princeton up on their offer. Is how I read it.
Yes. Well, I don't think so. Because she never actually goes to Princeton.
Yes, she does. She's right below the panel. It says "Welcome Princeton First Years," and she's sitting there.
But she got accepted, but she chose the army instead.
Yeah, she does the army, and then she goes to.
She then goes to Princeton.
Yeah, after she leaves the army.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. You're talking about after.
Yeah, and then after Princeton, she goes and becomes a cop.
Yeah. In the armed forces, she thinks she's helping, but then she sees that the little girl that she's talking to later has her eye missing and an arm blown off, so she's not sure she's actually helping, so she tries a different way to help, goes to Princeton, doesn't like that, tries a different thing, becomes a cop. And when she's a cop, she sees her partner beating a innocent man, not to death, but definitely into a coma, and so she reports this man. And
he is a white officer beating a black man. You can tell by the
and he is then
choices.
He is then, after once she tells the higher ups, he is suspended with pay. The man that he beat is put in the hospital and may not survive, and she is then fired for a quote unquote different reason, but that's the reason she got fired, because she reported it.
Yeah,
but the reason they give for firing her is that someone tagged her in a picture someone tagged her in their wall on Facebook and had something to do with Black Lives Matter, and the cop said, "Oh, you're fired. That's a social media violation," quote unquote. They were just looking for whatever reason they could to fire her.
Yeah.
And at her lowest point, she's at a bar drinking, and a massive woman, androgynous thing. It looks like a woman, but like the gold plating on the clothing.
Let's imagine Okoye was a lantern.
Yeah,
dude.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say it.
When this was happening, I forgot that this wasn't the Marvel universe. I thought it just was Okoye. I don't know why I thought that. I was like, oh, it's Okoye. Like, duh. I'm like, no, that's the Marvel universe, you idiot.
I love this character's name we never discovered thus far. I love Okoye. It's fine.
Yeah. So this person's like, oh, so come with me. And she's like, you're out of, and Joe's like, you're out of my league, but okay, I'm down. Let's go. And so they start walking, and she explains, what happened to this tall woman. And, she's like, oh, the woman's like, well, this person that you reported is a waste. You have honor. And Joe's like, I don't have honor. I froze.
Everything
I didn't help.
She says is she basically rephrases everything Joe says in my opinion, much more like objective manner, without using like things only, I guess, Earth people would know, like police force, like stuff like that. Yeah. Yes. Colloquialism. Perfect. Thank you.
See, I could be a smart boy too.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not about Independence Day.
Using them bird words.
Yeah.
Hashtag bird words.
Hashtag bird words. So the woman is, talking to Joe, and Joe's like, I don't know what I could have done. I feel like I froze. I feel like a failure. That guy could die, but I have to make this better. And the woman's like, cool, let's discuss that job offer that I was talking about. And it's one of the Guardians of Oa.
Mm-hmm.
The Guardians of Oa, for those who may not know, because maybe your first podcast or maybe your first Green Lantern book.
Very tiny blue people. They're very tiny blue people.
That's great. What did they do? That's the end of the description. That's what they are.
That's pretty much it.
Cool. That's podcast week.
Yeah, they're the council. They're the home planet. But the main power battery, it's where everything comes from. They
decide who gets to be a lantern.
They send the rings in most cases to the Green Lanterns.
They're also like super corrupt and stupid at times. But this is also looks like to be a female Owen.
I think mostly dead.
Yes, they have been, but they've been killed and brought back so many times. But I like that this one is a
one
female Owen.
Cataclysm after another. Yeah, this is, I think, the first time I can recall not only a female Owen, but also a young-looking Owen.
Maybe this is
because usually they're a very, very old council.
They're from the land of the Owens. Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Different Owens. Yo, that's a good joke though. The planet of Oa, where the Owens live. Oh hey, welcome to our planet. You want to see our Green Lantern? Wow.
That's a big lantern.
Back to the book. We now understand Jo as a person. We see where she came from. We see what's kind of driving her, and we see that she, just that she's an incredibly deep and interesting character, and I love her so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
She goes to a vigil for the man who was killed at the beginning of the book, Stephen, and with her family, and her family, the family of Stephen is like, so. Heard what you said to the council. She's like, yeah, how'd you guys hear that? She's like, they're not so smart. We have people on the inside. She's like, that's pretty cool. You guys are really organized. She's like, we have to be. We're starting a resistance. That's cool. And then one girl comes up and goes, that's what rebellions do. I rebel. That doesn't happen. That was never in the movie, was it?
No, it wasn't.
That bums me out. She's like, this is what has to be done. She's like, okay, I'm liking you more and more, Stephen's wife. And she's like, yeah, I'm liking you too, Green Lantern. You're all right, man. You're all right. And then earlier in the book, I totally skipped over this, but Counselor Thorne's like, I'm going to go investigate because I need to find out what's happening. This crime of passion is weird.
Right.
Yeah, because you learn that the person who, the first murderer, the person who ate Stephen was a vegetarian.
You find that out right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, cool. I didn't miss it. Good.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It happens right now.
Cool. It's one of those things where, like, you feel like you forget where all the story beats happen, but thank God. All right. Cool.
Yeah, she's a librarian and she's a vegetarian, which is apparently very expensive for I can't remember the name of that race.
Very rare and apparently controversial because she's like, because Joe asks, is that even like a thing? Like, can you do that? And he goes, well, I mean, it's blasphemous.
It's expensive. It's
scientifically, yes.
But yeah, you can do it.
She's like, that's crazy. Wait a second. If it costs so much money, how the hell was a librarian able to afford all of that food? And he goes, exactly.
How well do they get paid on these parts of the...
And he's like, they don't. She was in incredibly deep debt. But then a few weeks ago, a few weeks before the murder, the debt was all completely paid off.
Yeah, she paid off her debt and she disappeared.
Vanished.
And she's like, she vanished. Like, yeah. So, I need to find out what happened, even if it kills me. And she's like, oh, God, why would you say that?
You put that in the universe.
And that's end of issue 5. And issue 6 is our last issue for
Probably my favorite page is page 1 of issue 6.
I like how the cover has very little green on it, and the O in Far Sector is purple. it leads me to hope that we'll see some Indigo Tribe eventually. Knock.
If they come a knocking.
Boom. I went back and I was going through all of our old episodes to try to find stuff, and I found that Indigo Tribe and joke we had, the knock knock, will you answer? Oh my god.
It's so good.
One of our better written jokes.
I agree.
Yes, page 1, John, talk about it.
So it's just an over the top, like,
she's
soap
Lieutenant
opera
Uhura.
/ I think bodice ripper is the term.
Yes.
Like, but she looks a lot
Fabio.
like, yeah, right. She looks like, I don't know Star Trek.
But what's
Uhura?
a bodice? She's Uhura, yeah. But what's a bodice ripper, John? Like, describe that.
Bodice ripper is what your mothers and grandmothers may read, where it's basically a trashy romance novel. They're a dime a dozen. They're on the rack. There's like a dude with half a shirt on.
Yeah,
that's what it is. They're called bodice rippers because
there's no substance.
You can imagine why. Anyway, yeah, it's just 100% just trash. But
yeah, she looks exactly like Lieutenant Uhura in Star Trek, the original Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not very up on Star Trek, but the characterization is that iconic.
I mean, we have it on record that Jeremy's well versed in Star Trek.
No,
we do.
Yeah,
so
you know what? That's true. I do know it because you got to know what you hate.
Ooh.
I feel like I'm just going to keep digging this hole where now I'm going to actually hate Star Trek, even though I don't hate Star Trek. And now I'm going to start hating it just out of pure spite, just like the Matthew McConaughey thing. Started with nowhere, and then now it's going to become like a part of my being. So yeah, so this issue opens up with this bodice ripper where she's describing emotions, and he's like, "Why? Who are you talking to?" She goes, "It's not for you."
Well, you have emotions now. That's ridiculous.
I love it. It's great.
It's for the new people.
Welcome to Far Sector. But the reason that that's important is because he actually comes to her in the story, and Sizzin is like, "Hey, you want me to come over there and like, I know you're sad and like you're thinking a lot about stuff. Like, you want me to come over there and wink?" And she's like, "No, I'm not. No, thank you." But then when Counselor Marth comes, he's like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm on switch off, so like I have emotions." She's like, "Yo, you're a bad guy. Let's talk about that." And she does it more eloquently than I do.
Yeah.
But she finds out that he has agreed to resign. And she's like, "Well, that's neat, but like, have you apologized?" She's like, "Well, the resigning thing is public knowledge now. I said it out loud because I'm part of the problem."
Yeah, I'm guessing you haven't checked the news in like a hot minute.
Yeah.
She gets her next 50 cents out of the swear jar. She says, "Holy F." And he talks about, the reason that I'm a counselor is because my father was a counselor, father before him was a counselor, and so on and so forth. This is precedent. This is what my family does. But I realize that I'm part of the problem and I need to be part of the solution.
And
she says, "Well, you're just saying that." Go ahead.
What I love about this too is you discover that he doesn't take the switch off to escape or just to like feel like everyone else does, like a drug. He takes it to reflect on decisions he has made.
Yeah, he takes it to process.
Yes, he doesn't make decisions on it.
He takes it to feel the weight of these decisions. And the granted decisions, because without emotion, it's 100% pure rationality to a very high, very big fault. He now gets to take a step back and see how that makes him feel, which no one else does.
Because she says, "You're just saying this now because you feel bad. You have quote unquote guilt. But as soon as you're off the switch off, you're going to decide not to do this because, you're just being irrational right now." He goes, "No, I already made the decision without the switch off. I don't do, like John said, I use that to feel the weight, not to make the decision." I like that. It makes him actually legitimately sympathetic right now. Like, because spoiler, these two are about to have carnal relations and
interspecies relations.
When it was starting, don't say it like that, Matt. Because there's only like a few species on this planet right now, and you're only allowed to have carnal relations with one of them, and that's messed up if you have anything else. But anyway, what was I saying? I'm so off track now that I'm thinking about that. So it's kind of leading towards this. Like you can tell, like, I mean, we've read stories, we've seen movies, like, these two are about to do the nasty.
There's a clear connection here.
But you're like, this is like so undeserved. Like she's a better moral character than him. I don't want her to stoop to his level just for sex. And, but he makes himself legitimately like worthy of her time and her presence right now by legitimately having problems with what he's done and apologizing, not just to her, but to the world. And I was like, you know what? Then they do, spoiler, they do kiss and do other adult things. I was like, all right, I believe this. I am okay with this. I was not okay with it at the start of this interaction, but they have earned every second of this, I think, like as writers, like she did a good job.
Well, the part that really swayed me on this was when she goes, I don't believe this. I don't believe that's the case, that you take it to feel things. And he goes, no, it's fair. Everything she's brought up against him, he doesn't argue it. He says, that's fair. And he just contextualizes it.
Yeah.
But he says, well, have you never committed a wrong yourself, Joe? Something you shouldn't have done or something you should have? And it flashes back to the same image. I think it's the third time we're seeing it now. The same exact image of her witnessing her partner beat the kid,
the guy.
And she goes, yeah, okay.
She was also waiting for him to show some sign of guilt too, like the first
time. And then he does.
And then he does. And she's like, oh.
And then she's like, oh no, he's hot.
He's hot. Yeah, I like that. Like I said, it was very earned. All this was very earned. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm throwing away all the plot lines and my character development to sleep with you. Like, no, this made sense.
And also because he also makes the line of like, I can't imagine, because you feel everything, including like loneliness now. She's like, I can't imagine how you feel, the only one of your kind in this extremely remote region. I can't imagine how lonely that is. And then when they do start to get together, she's like, you know what? It's true. It is very hard being lonely. So that's a very human thing to do as well.
That's why she didn't invite Sizzin over, because yes, that's physical. Absolutely. But she wanted somebody emotional right now. Sizzin can't give her that because she just doesn't have the ability to. So those two sleep together. Then the morning comes and she receives a call from the councilman, Thorne, and she sprints out the door and she's like, all right, send me your coordinates. And he does, but he sounds like worried. He sounds frantic. And she calls the council to send back up to these coordinates now. And she does come across the area where he is, and it's like a meat packing area. But what's more important is this is the first time she flies there, because she has to fly through space. Yeah, and it would take her too long to take the subway.
She does take Canhaz with her as well. She kind of is in her headset.
Yes, Canhaz is now a part, which makes finally right. You want this. It makes sense to have it in your HUD. If this is a video game or a movie, to give you a little bit of exposition, that makes sense. This is good.
Your Cortana, as it were.
Yeah. Yes. I like that a lot. So she gets to this place and she's like, this is really weird that he's here. This is like a meat packing area in Manhattan. And she says before it was cool because, like, they've gentrified those areas into being like, oh, it's like we've reclaimed this area. It's like a bespoke bike shop where we also make herbalism tea in the basement, blah, blah, blah. But like, this is legitimate industrialism here on this part of the galaxy. And she finds these horrible creatures that the AI is immediately able to find from the cloud cryptocracy. And these things are what everybody, so the reason the trilogy exists, the reason that these people came together is because of these things. They had a common enemy and they attacked the common enemy, and then they were able to form their now society. So these things have been dead for like 500 years, and they're back.
And you didn't see them or hear their name until just now, issue 6.
Yeah,
which I have a theory, but I'll talk about the theory in a minute. And the AI is like, Canhaz is like, these things don't run on their own. They require a biological signature inside. A biological is the only thing that can run them. And you see that the councilman is inside one of the creatures, and he doesn't look good.
The Tolly, the plant.
Yes, Thorn. He's inside, and she says, that's it. You have my friend. You've taken him hostage, but even worse, you've started a nerd fight. And I think it's high time you found out what this ring can really do.
And that's where we are left off.
And I'm so bummed.
For the, I think, maybe second or third time in Talking Trades history where there's no more content.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're caught up.
There's no more content. We can't even finish to figure this out. This Bitterroot and Die, I think, is like it. Where it's just like, that's it. That's
which
all
we have to
is.
revisit Die soon, because we do have Die Volume 2 out now.
I think after the 100.
Yeah. So my theory on this is, and I feel like it's not very difficult to figure this out, but the bad guys, the bad cops have pulled these things out of cold storage and are putting people in them to make a new threat to the society so that everyone forgets the emotional referendum and they can just keep moving forward with society as it is. That's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's very basic, but I also am willing
they
to
have
have that
been
be
here. There has been no official on the record citing.
That's true. Yeah, possible. Whatever it is, I have complete faith that whatever it is, we are not smart enough to actually think of it, and it will be done very well.
No, look at just the concept of this world. There's no way we have the mental capacity to figure out what happens there.
We are not that smart.
Mm-mm.
But we try real hard.
Sure do.
So that is it for that book. N.K. Jemisin and Jamal Campbell have created a brand new character in the DC universe who I hope to see more and more of. Huge fan. Love it. Love it. Love it. What do you guys think?
Also, a brand new corner of the DC universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
Which is cool. Because like I imagine that it's like super nerdy. But I imagine that because in Green Lantern Trade 3, the end, like they go to the wall of the universe.
Right.
So I imagine this has to be the complete opposite direction and a long way out.
Well, isn't because in Metal the source wall is
come through? Yeah, that they come through the crack.
Yeah,
that's where it all comes from. But I think that the fact that it takes so long for data to arrive, you are the complete opposite direction and a long, long way away.
Mm-hmm. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. This book was like my brand of just sci-fi fantasy garbage. I think is, I'm predisposed to really enjoying Green Lantern, but I think this world was my kind of world. There was bureaucracy and like all that shenanigans, which I love. Mm-hmm. And it felt lived in, and it had its own lore
felt authentic.
That was just it was fantastic. I loved it. I love when like my sci-fi stories you get to show a mingling of a bunch of different alien species.
We jumped in and we immediately felt like we knew Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Excellent decision to have her describe it in her mannerisms that are very relatable.
Yeah,
such a great way to introduce a new character across the board.
Mm-hmm. Huge fan.
I wholeheartly plan to read more. It comes out because
we just have to wait for the third time in Talking Trade history.
I thought it was a great time. It was just
big fan. 10 out of 10.
Fun book. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
All the characters were great.
So good.
Was great. Yeah, just wonderful.
But let's leave it at this horribly upsetting cliffhanger, because not upsetting because it's bad, but upsetting because I want to know what happened. And we will talk about what we're going to read next week in the outro. Is the podcast this week, gentlemen. Another rousing success for episodes. Would you agree?
What a book.
Fun book.
What a book.
What a book. I think the next stage in human evolution, which is the AT-ATs, where they are sustained completely on memes. So good.
Yikes. We're already like pretty close. Judging by the quarantine culture that we've all had to live in.
Again, what a timely book.
And what a time we have. Next week, we are reading Black Panther and the Crew, We Are the Streets, written by Ta-Nehisi Coates and Yona Harvey. Art is by Butch Guise and John Cassidy did the covers. This is a kind of street level view of characters like Black Panther, Luke Cage, Storm, Misty Knight, and Manifold. From what I understand, it's a lot of Misty Knight, which is cool. But I have not read this. I've not read this book yet, but so I'm excited to do so. Anything with Ta-Nehisi Coates is downright amazing, so I'm sure it'll be good. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to reading that.
Yeah, going to be a good time.
We continue to highlight our authors, artists, creators, comic book people of color who deserve to be highlighted, and Ta-Nehisi Coates is one of those people, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to say, too, I can't remember a string this strong of books we read in succession.
Mm-hmm.
Of, like, quality?
Yeah. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Of a consistently high bar.
So here's the thing, right? This is episode 99 is Far Sector. Episode 101 will be Black Panther and the Crew. And
that'll be our next piece of content release.
Yes, it'll be the next episode. Well, it'll be the next episode chronologically, but we may release the Batman episode at some point in there. It depends on just editing and all that good stuff. But yeah, so, but you notice we jumped over episode 100. Obviously, episode 100 is a massive milestone, and we had been planning for a long time to do Final Crisis for that milestone, kind of as a fun.
If you've seen our Convergence episode or the Convergence episode, that kind of thing,
it's not
like a fun
Convergence. I'll say that, but like it's gonna be a fun time, kind of disliking something. We have fun with that. We want to keep that as episode 100. So what we're gonna do is we're going to have episode 101 come out before 100, and when we are done with. When we feel it's appropriate to do so, we will do it the much more lighthearted fare. Yes. Mm-hmm. For now, we want to continue with our streak of what we've been doing, highlighting characters, writers, authors of color, and I think that just makes the most sense for the world's climate right now. And it's something we need to do just with inherently every once in a while, just in general. Even when we're in a place of doing. Batman one week, we need to make sure we're highlighting characters that represent the actual diversity of America more often with our small platform. But that was something we decided as a team, the three of us, and we are sticking to it for now. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns, please let us know at Talkin' Trades or any of our individual Twitters. We'll get back to you as soon as possible, as long as you're not a Star Trek fan, because I block you. And do you guys have any comments or anything to say about episode 100?
No. I'm good.
No,
okay.
I'm good.
Cool. I'm looking forward to eventually doing it, but I am also looking forward to kind of continuing our streak of what we're doing right now. I think it's super important, and it's also really fun just to see a different side of like art that I haven't experienced growing up as a cisgendered white Catholic male. Yeah. I've had a very narrow worldview, so it's cool to see the other views.
Yeah, and these are all so far, like John said, these have all been awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These past three books have been just stellar in terms of.
It's almost like diversity breeds creativity.
Yeah, I heavily suggest you guys try and read some of these because they are great.
Bitterroot and Far Sector so far have been. Like I recommend them to anybody. Doesn't matter how they feel about anything. Doesn't matter their political.
Victor LaVille's Destroyer was also so good, fantastic.
Yeah, and Destroyer was also great. We just like we said, we could have benefited from an extra issue.
I agree. But if you read one of them, I guess Destroyer, for the sole reason of like it ends. It is a complete work. It is succinct. Bitterroot is ongoing. Read all three. If you're going to choose one, you want to be satisfied by only reading one trade's worth of content. Then I think Victor LaVille is the only way to go.
Yeah, the Destroyer is a contained story, absolutely.
But they're all they're all great. Books.
So far, they've all been fantastic, and I don't doubt that the next one will be any different. Mm-hmm. So that'll do it for this week for us. We're going to end the podcast. We are going to host the beta for what we're doing here. Actually, is we host a random streamer, so that's kind of cool, and it will play on our feed for a little while. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. So you'll hear us next week.
Have a fantastic week, everybody. Talk to you later.
Okay. Bye. Enjoy.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's me, Veronica, aka BonnieCan69. And I'm here to talk to you guys about my Patreon and my subscribers. I know that I have 400 subscribers, and that's pretty great. but it's not great enough. And my Patreon is only up to $1,000 a month. And that's like nothing. That's like what? One ham sandwich? That's crazy. How are you guys so selfish? If you have enough time to watch me on Twitch, then how are you not able to donate $5? That is ridiculous.
Subscribe to NoScope XX.
Oh my god, XX NoScope XX. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you could get like 2 more friends to subscribe to me as well, then I think you would finally be a person that I could see as a human being. That'd be really great. But
Subscriber, I can ask her stuff.
oh my god, Akaha's Earthstuff01. Thank you for resubscribing and not just using your stupid Twitch Prime membership. Using your actual money like a decent human being. That's great. You're a good person. You're valid and you matter. Everyone else, maybe you cannot. But anyway, guys, I was talking about how you owe me money because of the things I haven't done for you yet.
$5 donation from Chillery15.
Oh, Chillery, $5. See, this is what I'm talking about, guys. Chillery clearly has the money. How come you guys don't have money? You guys must be terrible with your money. Hey, Dad, can you give me some more money to go buy me a car? Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this week's Twitch stream. And let's donate more money to me.
Wow, Ronnie Girl 69, thanks for the host. That's real generous. Thank you so much. Wow. Again, it's your boy, Owen Will Son. Obviously, the leading Owen streamer on this platform. Just going through my thoughts again on why are there so many lanterns from Earth? There's at least 7 lanterns. That's crazy. That's mind-boggling. Think about how many races there are and species there are among the stars. Why is there no Na lantern? Why is there no Adat lantern? Why does Earth need another lantern for a sector so far? It's just crazy. Wow.
New subscriber, Nipples and Knuckles and Nipples.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for the stream. That means that we definitely hit our donation goal of $3. It's been 8 long hours, but we made it. Very impressed, guys. Thank you so much. This means that we're now going to start our counter podcast of Talking Shades. We'll see you guys next week, and that will be the podcast.
You can follow us on Twitter at Talking Trades. Follow Jeremy on Twitter at LizardKing27. You can find John on Twitter at Maesterlaka, Maesterlaka. And for this and other projects from Matt, please check out Facebook at Matt Spina Music. And remember, we're not experts, we're fans.